Good morning. Hyonchu Sanchu Rinpoche, Mashi Panam Hiejerchi, Hipa Nyamba Mepat, Koni Kondan Perva Hyo, Susan Dunga Chinda Chechin, Yasom Mepon Hua Jalasu, Sanchan Lam, near the Donjan. Tambanam Jinin Tatsar the So. Peerless Dharma brothers and sisters. Good morning. I have a big kind of reminder to you or request to you. Please to generate great compassion. In Sanskrit called Bodhicitta, or slang language. Please, can you more to have good heart? And this good heart, or with good heart, yesterday we say resume the good heart. The object, one with focus, is suffering sentient beings. Why we need to thinking about suffering sentient beings? They are the same as we are. Absolutely. May we think, and I don't know them, and they never I met. They are not my relative. They are not my friend. Why I need to concern those suffering sentient beings? Yes, you need to think about them. For instance, if you are in difficult situations, it doesn't matter. Some of your friend or family, even you don't know, maybe someone's very kind with you and support you physically or mentally or verbally, how much you appreciate it. And that you need to remember. We need to remember. If we do not think others, say, I don't know, I never met, I don't want to think about others. Then maybe they say, okay, you don't think to us, we don't need to think you. Then we have big problems. Hurting each other, killing each other, murder each other. Then it's even the torch, make sufferings very easily. Based all our human conflict comes from that. Therefore, please, to investigate to others, they are same we are or not. That is most important. And form compassion takes is in your mind, wish, very strong wish, aspiration. You want to be free from the both of sufferings, cause and result. This kind of, at the moment, like kind of the attitude or aspiration, thinking, it is very important. And in the Pajina Paramita says, if you have these aspirations and the application is automatically permeated. In Tibet, Sambi Mundon Yori Chaps. And first time you need to this kind of aspiration, then your application or the activity, body, verb, mind is naturally can occur. And also, it's a compassion is, okay, maybe if you order to me, maybe Buddha and Bodhisattvas, teachers order to us, maybe this is like kind of, okay, if you say so, I will generate them. Of course, you don't need to generate bodhicitta, but how much you have wish in your mind, benefit for yourself. I want to do like this, I would to be like this and that. And you put a lot of effort, worldly and different perspective way, but you never succeeded. Because of your lack of the compassion and the kindness. If you really to generate compassion, pure if you have compassions, your wishes is automatically, you don't believe yourself how it is happened. Unbelievable things to naturally occurring. If you all the time is aggressive, unkindness, has very negative thoughts to the others. Doesn't matter you are rich, looks like, seemingly. You are seemingly beautiful, handsome, powerful. But that is the temporary, easily to disappear. Like morning frogs, sun is a little bit coming, immediately evaporated. But according to your compassion, kindness, you achieve something permanent, forever, delicious, very much nurturing food. You eat more, make healthy, long life. Therefore, we are studying compassion. And also, we are now in the chapter 2nd, in the extraordinary preliminary practice. Itself has 3 main sections, like a mind training with the 4 boundless qualities, and arousing bodhicitta in mind turned towards supreme enlightenment, and training mind with precepts of the aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. And now we are in the first chapter section into the 4 boundless qualities, the boundless qualities of economy, the impartiality, and boundless qualities of the love, boundless qualities of compassion, boundless qualities of the sympathetic joy. And this is like kind of the follow up, the sequential is the pith instruction, particularly in this is Patrul Rinpoche's tradition. Generally, the order is love, compassion, ritual or joy, and impartiality. But now we are already studied impartiality, and we like kind of understand other sentient beings, ourselves, very much same way of the thinking, and also it's like everything is in the mind is searching, thinking, wish, exactly the same, physically same, verbally same, mentally same. Of course, according to our habitual tendencies, we have different experience or the appearances, and above it says they're the 6 animals, they have individual appearances or the perceptions. Of course that is different, but the basic or the dynamic like a way of the thinking to have the happiness, try to avoid sufferings, that is exactly the same. And we understand like a echo of all the sentient beings, and then it's like according like all our both situations, others and ourselves, both we need love. My love you need, your love I need. And between there is, we're connected by the love. We are very happy. We can make very much great harmony. And we can to dispel any kind of dispute, conflict, argumentation. There are such forgiveness can come in naturally. And then it's like a third one is the compassion, most crucial point. Compassion is like more concerning. Compassion is the most positive action. In the Buddhist point of views, we say accumulation merit, meritorious. It's meritorious how we can to do by the compassion. The compassion, it's like kind of easily to do the meritorious. And also when we are in the path, we have such purifications. In the like direct, we can to see some obstacles, hindrance, obscurations. Like we can to see, we can to touchable, we can to hearable. Like for instance, sick, like the current situations, pandemic, and there's many problems, poverty, cold, lack of the understanding, a lot of problems in this world, in our realms. How we can to purify it? There's only one thing, through the compassion. May you think, how it is the compassion to purify it, this in the relative some problems. Yes, compassion can do it. Without compassion, whatever you do things, the end is all the times negative, business, political, like this. If someone is doing benefit for any others through the compassions, very much benefit if they create like kind of the technologies, benefit, not hurting to others, more safe. They create the medicines, more beneficial, more sufficient, more analysis, never kind of problems, very gentle, very beneficial. Whatever created through the compassions, there is almost no error. But without compassion, maybe there is attractive technologies, very dangerous. It can to destroy you, me, all our families, also the universal, 100% sure. And therefore, even the temporarily, the best purifier is the compassion. And the ultimately, it's like mentally, how we can to purify mental sickness of the disturbing emotion, obscurations, and hiddens. We are like kind of the mysterious, indirect things. Maybe in the past, how much we have negative karmic tendencies. All those we need to purify it by the compassions. And the best like kind of the medicine or like kind of the purifier, it is the compassion. And you do not need too many different dharma, but there is one dharma, single dharma, it is the compassion. This single dharma of the compassions can purify all the obstacle of or the obscuration of the cognitive and defilement. You can automatically to make the accumulation, purify the true obscurations, you can to reach its true kaya in your individual process. Therefore, we're talking about the compassions. Okay, this compassion is most part we studied. Today is the paragraphers. It's talking about the Dharma King of the Toson Detsen is this part. I hope you are you're in the paragraphs. It is like main is like kind of the Patrul Rinpoche's shouting, criticize those Dharma practitioners called the lamas and the monks. But not really lamas and the monks. It's any kind of Dharma practitioners. Generally speaking, you are the great kind of the compassionate, but in reality it's not really compassionate. One person or one sentient being is a little bit disturbed, you cry out and you say, I'm fed up, I cannot to help anymore. How we can to help the limitless sentient beings? Even sometimes one or two like beings is very difficult to bear to help. And this, but still it's in the mouthly to say, I want to help all the limitless sentient beings. But reality is like some is really a point is coming. It's like small things is very difficult to help to others. Like this. Then is how we call the Dharma practitioners. How you call the Lama or the teacher or Bodhicitta or you are monk, nuns. Like this. Here this today paragraph it says, during the region of Dharma King Trosum Deten, the Pombos made offering of blood and meat for the king's benefit. The second Buddha from the Udayana, the great Bodhicitta Bimalametta, the great Bodhisattva Abbot Shantarakshita, and the other translations and Bodhicittas were all the completely outranch. They're not like kind of the meeting or something. Outranch at the side of the Pombos offerings. Side, they saw the like kind of Pombos doing puja things benefit for the Trosum Detens. They said a single teaching cannot have two teachers. Like this is what does it means. Maybe it's like same time it's like two kings. To make the same times a torment is very difficult. And same times a Buddha, two Buddhas appear also is like kind of the strange things. Like this, of course, you like a kind of one by one normally like this. Therefore he said, during the Trosum Deten, before the Trosum Deten in Tibet is a very much powerful, our religious is the Pombo. I think this is like a more black Pombo, maybe not white Pombo. And black Pombos, they do, maybe you can to see in the YouTubes. There are some in the Ando, some in Tibet. We have still, they are sacrificed the animals like sheep, goats. Very sad. This is like kind of, and normally this is like impossible. But as we have the white Pombo, it is like same as the Buddhist. Maybe this is not really Buddha Shakyamuni's lineage, but I think it is a very much similarity to the Buddhist. Is they have the path, the Bhumi, there is like kind of enlightenment. That is we call the white Pombo. I think it's like maybe it's, I don't know. It is like they copied each other. And anyway, it's like during the Trosum Detens, most Pombo is like transformed into the Buddhist. And now we have the Pombo Buddhism. And there I think, I hope it's not sacrificed. But we have the black Pombo, it's the shamanism. This is kind of the ancient times everywhere in Europe, America, India, and yes, of course, Nepal, even in Tibet. But it's Tibet normally the second Buddha, Udayana, great Bodhisattva of the Bimalametta. Of course, according to the Dharma King Trosum Detens, and then it's the Shantarakshtas. They brought the Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching into Tibet. They established very fantastically, almost at 100%, it is the Buddhist. But still there are some tendencies. We have the bombo, black bombos. Yeah, when you see that in some YouTube that I saw myself, and it's like I shocked. It's like still there are someone's doing. But of course we go to there, it's like you cannot to say that bad. For their perspective, they all believe that way, and they sacrificed animals to offer to the local god or some. But for the Buddhist point of view, I think is absolutely not corrected. Here is saying the offering of the blood and the meat. And during the Choson Detsen was sick and he needed to do some benefit, Buddhist way puja or the Bombo way puja. And he did both sides. At that time, Choson Detsen was very much doubt their own religious of the Bombo. And according to that, then he changed completely into the Buddhist. And he of course, he's quite a great king. He's searching to many different religions in the world, which one is best for in Tibet. And of course, there are a kind of we call that there is also Kogese. There's another king, so some in the part of the Tibetans. Also, they invited some Christianities also they want to establish, but it's impossible, it's not succeed. Then of course, sometimes Hindus came, they not succeed. Of course, then during the Choson Detsen is in Tibetan is very powerful, and he's really want to establish the best spiritual path. And also culture is a food, clothes. Of course, his grandmother or the mother is the Chinese, the Princess Gonjo. And of course, we are a lot of imitated Chinese, kind of this. And like this, then it's of course, some is created a culture. Of course, we have the old ancient culture, but it's also rich culture, which more nicely, and then it's religious is changed. Therefore, it says the single teaching of the Buddha Shakyamunis cannot have the two kind of the teachers, and single kind of religion cannot have the true methods of the practice. In the Buddhist way, you cannot put any blood and the food, kind of the meat. And absolutely, it's doing puja, these things is kind of to more safe for the sentient beings and to help. And others is you killing, you doing these things. It's different methods. The Bon tradition is the opposite to the law of the Dharma. And that times this Bombo tradition doing puja things absolutely against the Dharma. They say this is not very good. It is even worse than the ordinary wrongdoing. And this Bodhicitta, they think it's they're killing. Maybe sometimes I heard it's Bombo's puja need to kill some wild deers, and then they horns, and then put on the horn some sausage, fat meat, blood. That is kind of the maybe local god or something. And then they think this is the really worst doing ordinary wrong. If you are permitted such practice, Choson Detsen, you give to permit this kind of such practice, we shall go back to home of the India. We don't want to stay anymore. Okay, you can do your own religious. We don't want to stay in Tibet. We want to go back. Then this is the Bodhicittas were all of the same opinion, without even having to discuss. Everybody's same ideas. The matter. When the king asked them to preach the dharmas, kind of to do some the dharma activities, they don't want. Not one of them can forward. Even when he serves them food, drink, things, they refuse to eat. We don't want anymore. okay, you do your own religious, and this way, it is not really Buddhist way. We want to go back. We don't want to eat some food, drink things from you. If we claiming to work in the footstep of the Pentita, Siddhas, and the Bodhisattva of the past, if we are the practitioners, we are kind of the claiming, working, kind of talking about the, we say we are follower of the footstep of the Pentita, those second Buddha of the Undiyanas, Bimalamita, Shantarakshita, and those great masters, Siddhas, Bodhisattvas of in the past. Now, like kind of the perform the profound red is like kind of the pujas, like sadhana of the sacred mantrayana in the manner of the bombos and cause harm to the beings, like kind of the mixed. For example, if you go to different place, it's true sometimes, like Tibetan Buddhism is the very much big mixed Bombo and the Hinduism. Like kind of the mandalas and like kind of the ornament, many things looks like kind of the Bombos. And then it's like you practice the channel Bindu, like these things, it's like kind of comes from Hindu. And for example, if you go to Japan, if you go to some place, they say Tibetan Buddhism is very much mixed. It is like kind of the Bombo and the Hinduism. Sometimes you can to say that, for example, during in the Choson Descents, like he transformed the Bombos, Guru Rinpoche Shantaratitas, many Bombos traditions like kind of transformed to change into the Buddhist way. For example, this Dormas, we put the red, and some of these things is like kind of transformed. Like for example, before, like a Bombo tradition, this red is maybe blood, but later to changed. Why they keep these ones? This is like kind of some in the ancient Bombo traditions, some is very much benefit kind of temporarily. If you're not hurting, not to harming, some connect to the like plant, natural, and like ancient times. It's like ancient, many different countries, some old ancient peoples has many different methods, like kind of connect to the plant, connect to the many natural things. And this sort of, and also it's like immediately to change in Tibet is quite everybody's a little bit difficult to say. This is my religious, my like kind of the cultures. Choson Detsen says is I know this is our own culture, our own religious, but it's doing like this is incorrect. We should to change. And then it's like they transform into the like kind of Buddhist way. And then it's like we are like this to changing things to again to become the Bombo tradition. That is then it's like many these days secret mantrayanas, Dzogchen Chenpo teachings, or it's like kind of the comes from Bombo, and this is like kind of the Bombo Dzogchen and the Buddhist Dzogchen. It's like kind of the Bombos come from more like Dzogchens come from Bombo. Then it's the big kind of the mixed, maybe I'm not sure. This is like want to say it's like this. Secret mantrayana is like mixed manners of the Bombo and cause harm to the sentient beings. Maybe it is not corrected. It will destroy the like kind of the sublimity of the doctrine and dishonor the three jewels. Like kind of the in this perspective, big must mix it like this, then it's not very good. Like kind of, for example, now it's like kind of the holiness, the Dalai Lamas. Of course, he respects everything. That is the marvelous. Maybe it's that like a Buddhist way. It's a Buddhist. It's India like kind of the Buddha Shakyamuni's way. There's Buddha Shakyamuni's like teachings, their sutra and tantra, their own way. Is in our Bombo traditions we have the Bombo Buddhist. their own way. This is which one is we say good, bad. We don't know it, but not like kind of the mix it. Absolutely your own way to follow up. That is the very, very important. Now, for example, if you mix it like this, then it's not very good. It's like kind of not very clearly. I make jokes sometimes. For example, Jesus Christ's teachings is so marvelous, maybe extraordinary. But then it's like each like centuries, they change. Lot of like kind of this. Now it's original, it's very, very difficult. Like this in the future, so also Buddha's teaching. We have like kind of the 84,000 teachings, 108 volumes. This is Buddha's, his word, his teachings. Never change, never mix it. If his like teaching is a mistake, it's a mistake. If we mix it, then we are destroying the Buddha's doctrines. It's like kind of we are dishonest the like Buddha's teachings way, the three jewels, Buddha Dharmas. And will the like kind of the cast both ourselves, others into the health. If you do like this, maybe it's a doer itself or puja doer yourself, and you doing to the others like benefactors, both you need to go to the hell. It says like this. Always take the lowest place. That is the most Buddhist way. Wear the simple cloth. Help all the other sentient beings as much as you can. That is the wonderful. Maybe you don't need to proclaim to say, I'm the higher realization. I'm doing something such a puja, very strange things doing. Or I can do heal. I can do like kind of the cures. For example, I'm a very, very strange things, but I never ever believed any someone says like spiritually or like kind of the healing things. If you have such a compassion, really kindness, and someone is like whatever all the time is sympathetic kindness, and really can to heal. It has something is like power, naturalism. Otherwise, it's like any kind of, I don't believe that. In everything you do, simply work at the developing love and compassion. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And like this you develop the love and compassion is the wonderful. And they have that become a fundamental part of the yourself. You morning, you is in the evening, and during the day, you sleep, day, night. How can I help to the other sentient beings? May all the sentient beings to be free from the sufferings. And one person is you see the happiness, no jealous, very much rejoicing. Someone's study, someone's practice, someone's beautiful, someone's very handsome, kindness, never jealous. You may think more happy, more kind of compassion to them. And you see some like suffering sentient beings, your tears automatically coming in your eyes. That then is like fundamental part of your body, is really mixed with the compassions. That way serves the purpose. Then you can, even if you do not practice the more outward and capricious form of the dharmas, like kind of the large or big, kind of the obviously, you are not doing the dharma activities. But in your mind, you have such your compassion and love, such as the prayers you don't doing, the virtue activities and the altruistic works. They suit at that perfectly. Eco-supplement of the Dharma says, maybe perfect condense, the Dharma says, condense. This is in Tibet, it's like ndo chu yung tapa dup ndosit. And like this. And that is in the sutta that says like this. Let those who desire Buddhahood not attain in many dharmas, but only one Dharma. Which one? Great compassion. This single Dharma of the compassions, and you are turning your minds, or you are like undertake this path, you undertake whole path of the Dharma in order to be Buddhahood. Those with great compassion possess all the Buddha's teaching as if it were in the palm of the hands. If you have the really, it's like kind of the great single Dharma of the compassions, and you're in your single hand, on your hand, all the Buddha's teaching is in there. You are like kind of the Buddha's teachings, the like a hardcore of the teaching of the Buddha is the great compassion. And there is like kind of the great kind of the Dharma, like kind of the Dharma friend or the spiritual friend called the Geshe Tumbas. He was invited one by a monk who was the disciple of the three brothers of the Kambalomba. And then it's like he asked, what is Poto? The Geshe Potova is great practitioners doing nowadays, he asked. This Tsamba asked to these three monks, and then they replied, he is teaching the Dharma to the hundred of the members of the Sanghas. And then it's like the Geshe replies, wonderful. Why is he teaching? And what about the Geshe Pachompa? This is very great Kardamba Geshe and great, very famous example. These are like kind of these three Geshes, most like kind of ancient as very famous, completely kind of enlightened beings. He spent all his time like kind of the fashion representation of the body, like a representation of the Buddha's body, speech, and the minds. Like that means he's all the times create a temple and look sculptures and stupas of the Buddha's form materials that he and his disciples have the efforts. Oh, he replied, wonderful. Geshe Tsamba, like Tsambas, repeated. What about the Chakava? Geshe Chakava, it is the very famous compassionate. He does nothing and meditating. He's not teaching, he's not doing temple or other things, doing nothing but meditating. And also he said, the wonderful, tell me about the Kambalombas. This Kambalomba, the most like kind of the compassionate. He stay in the solitude, weeping continuously. Like Kambalomba is saying that stay in the solitude in the retreat place. Day and night he's crying. Why he's crying? Because he's concerned with the suffering of the sentient beings. With his face hidden. At this time, like kind of the Geshe Tsamba took off his hat, like kind of very respect way, and joined his hand before his heart to say, wow, wonderful, wonderful. And he shedding like many tears. He's coming in the eyes, tears. Explain it. Wow, that is the really marvelous, wonderful. He understood, and the how do you say, geshi kind of the kambalons, lombas like compassions, marvelous. That is the really, really like practicing Dharma, serious. I could tell you a lot about how good he is. But of course, I know he wouldn't like it. It's inconceivable can to talk like kind of this practitioner, compassionate beings. And he said like this, the reason why Kambalomba hidden his face, like kind of not showing, and cried all the times, was that he was constantly thinking about the beings fortunate by the sufferings of the samsaras. And it's like this. As you heard, some is a compassion, this kind of, I heard like a kind of sometimes he's hitting in his chest and crying and shouting the lamentation, what can I do? Those like kind of the beings tortured by the samsaric sufferings, how I can do this? He's like very, very strong, loudly crying like this. And meditate on the compassion for them. Therefore his cry, therefore his face is like all the time doesn't want to show happy. One day Chekava was explaining the numerous reasons why love and compassion were so important when Longri Tompa prostrated himself before him and said that thenceforth he would meditate on the nothing but those two things, Chekava's but or both, but what does it mean? This one is can't say the purpose. Bad person or the part of the body are bad. But his head and said 3 times that excellent news, excellent. What that means? He says like I will meditate nothing but only like kind of the to the kind of the compassion. Like this, Longri Tombas prostrated himself. Before to him sat the thenceforth would meditate on nothing but those 2 things, love and the compassions. And then Chekavabat, he's like kind of the head and said 3 times, wonderful, wonderful. Why? Okay, my explanation, you understand. And that is now you want to meditate on these 2 things, compassion and love. That is the really excellent news. You don't need to any other meditations. Generation stage, but like kind of dissolutions, and only you are meditate on the love and compassions, you will become enlightenment. He says, so good news. Nothing could be more like kind of effective than compassion for the purify us of the negative actions and the obscurations. Absolutely. Therefore he said, what is the excellent news? in order to purify your obscuration and your kind of the negative actions. That is the best like kind of the compassion and the love. Once long ago in India, the Bodhisattva teaching had been challenged on the 3 separate occasions and was about to disappear. But a benchman, Brahman named Partimokchas, Pergachiya. This sounds good. We don't know. Parkachanila, I don't know. This is very much hard the thought. I have been born as a woman because of my low status. I cannot myself make the Buddha's doctrine shine forth. And this is like kind of the India. There is one lady, and the very much compassionate, and this is the Abhidhamma teaching of the Buddhas has kind of the problems, like 3 separated occasions. This maybe is like kind of the sometimes it's like in a Sangha's disagreement, and also it's like kind of the some Tathaga's problems, and then it's like very much decreased, almost disappeared. And that time this like kind of the Brahma one is like nun, like in it's like this lady's name like this, and she was a nun. She said, I'm like low caste, I'm like kind of the woman, and also it's I'm a nun, but I cannot to really to like spread more, develop the Buddha's teaching of the Abhidharma. What can I do? I cannot to shine forth Buddha's teaching of the Abhidhammas. So like I will complete with like kind of the man and give birth to son who can spread the teachings of the Abhidharma. Maybe I will give our nuns like vows. Maybe I will contact to some men. Maybe I will maybe have to some children. Maybe I will tell to children, my children, maybe they can to develop. Maybe I hope, maybe I will have like kind of the sons. Because in India at that time, women's very much low caste, difficult to practice Dharma. And then he's very much strong wish, compassion way. And then of course you give up the like nun's vow, and then she has some different boyfriend, and then she has 2 sons, wonderful sons, with like kind of the acharyas. One is like the father, and she gave birth to the noble Asanga. This is the old brother with the Brahmins. In the Vasubandhu, one is like Brahma's boyfriend, and she has second son is Vasubandhu. And these 2 brothers, and she has 2 sons. She was very happy, and she's look after them very well. And then as they grow up, then as each of the 2 sons came of the age, they are like become age, they asked what their father's work had been. In India's like all the sons, they need to follow up. If father is a fisherman, if father is a hunter, or if father is a butcher, or father's business, they need to follow up. They cannot do other things. And therefore, they sons to ask, what is our father's jobs? Of course, mother says, like very wonderful way. Their mothers told to each of them, I did not give birth to you to follow in your father's footsteps. You were born to the spread of the Buddha's teaching. You must study Dharma and become the teacher of the Abhidharma. Therefore, I make the birth true of you. You cannot to follow your father's footstep. You should go to in the monastery to study Buddha's teaching, to develop the Buddha's teaching of the Abhidharma. Then is the Vasubandhu, one of the Kashyamisi, is like very great teacher of the Hinayana teacher, and studied the Abhidharma, is with the Sanghabara. Asanga went to Kumbhagabhara mountain, said Rubo Shakongchen, like Kunku Tapadas, Kunku Shakongchen, the bird's leg of the mountain, you can to say. He went to there, where he started to do the practice of the Buddha Mutiyana, in the hopes that he might have a vision of him and ask him for the instructions. Because he thought it's like he's personally to study things. It's like it's very difficult Buddha's teaching. Maybe first time to like kind of accomplish one deity, then maybe more easily that his idea, and then he practiced the Buddha Mutiyanas. And the 6 years he passed to did practice the Buddha Mutiyanas. And although he meditated hard and did not have as much as a single auspicious dreams, like there's nothing kind of the sign or the signals. Now it looks as if I will never succeed. He was like desperate. He thought and departed from his retreat place. Like the feeling discouraged. Along the way, his like kind of journey, he went to different way, he's thinking. There came come across a man like kind of the robbing on a enormous iron bar with a soft cotton cloth, and like kind of his huge iron and like kind of the stick and his polish like kind of the soft cotton cloth. And Asanga said, what are you trying to do? Robbing like that, like kind of polish. He asked to this man. Man replied, I need a needle. Therefore, I'm like kind of the robins. So I'm making one by robin away at this like kind of the bath. If this person's like to make this one needle, this big iron, like a polish or the rubbing by the soft cotton, how is he can to do is like this? And this kind of the meaningless, he's putting a lot of effort. Oh, I'm not very good. And the Asanga thought he will never make a needle by the like the robin, that huge bar with a soft piece of the cotton. Even if it could be done in 100 years, where he lived that long, he kind of has questions. It's possible he can still to be there. If ordinary people make such effort for so little reasons, I can see that I have never really practiced the Dharma with any kind of the persistent, like diligently. So he went back to his hermitage, his practice. He practiced for the 3 more years. Of course, now it's like more than 9 years, still with no signs. This time really he lost courage. I'm quite certain that I can never succeed, he said. And he looked to the road again, and he went to different. He came at the last to the rock, so high that it seemed to touch the heavens, like really it's touching the sky. Very huge rocks. At its foot, below this rock, a man was like kind of stalking it with the feather dipped in water, like the birds were feather, and to put in the water and put in the rock. He wanted to destroy it. This rock is highest, almost touching in the sky. Again, it's like say, what are you doing? Asanga asked this guy him. This rock is too tall. The man said, I don't get any sun in my house. I want to destroy it, which is to be west of it. So I'm going to wear it away. It is disappeared through this. Again, Asangas, with the same thoughts as before his maker of the needle, as 3 years before, went back and the practice for another 3 years. His thought, look, this person's doing meaningless these things. Even this bird's feather put in the water and like kind of that destroyed this rock 100%, maybe millions, trillions years he needed. How he can do it? Is this kind of useless doing? Maybe it's like he says, I'm not very good. Then he returned back. He's in the solitude. He's again make the 3 years retreat. Still without the much other signal, good dreams. Even that hasn't got any good dreams. Then it's like utterly, that means it's completely desperate, discouraged. He said, now whatever I do, I can never succeed, and set off once more his runway. 12 years he practiced Bodhicitta, nothing happened. Along the road he came across, there's a beach. The beach means it's like kind of the female dog, with the 2 crapat, and the crapat is like kind of the handicaps, hand legs, and her entire hand quoted kind of the crawling, like kind of the two arms is like kind of the dragging or the curling his like down body, and in the down body is like kind of ruin lot of maggots, like kind of the insect. Nevertheless, she was still full of the aggression, coming to the Asanga, want to bite something, and try to bite him, as she dragged herself along on her 4 legs. The rest of her body like kind of thing along in the ground behind her. Of course, Asanga was swept to cry to see these dogs by the deeply and like unbearable compassion. What can I do? Like kind of the cutting of the piece of his own flesh, and from the like maybe leg on the bottom, and he give to this beached female dog. Female dog eat it. And then it's like decided that he had to rid her of the worms, like the maggots. Her head is like kind of on the hand, like kind of the quarter, like fearing that he might kill also this them of the removed them. with his pink fingers. He thought, if I'm using my finger, maybe it's max, it's also this insect killing, then what can I do? He realized that the only way to do it was with his tongue. Of course, this is a very special occasion. Who can to do it like this? But of course, this through the compassions and also through the desires. We eat kind of someone's eat shit, and like kind of the compassions, they can do such kind of these things. Maybe think, well, as much as I have compassions, I cannot do. Of course, when you have sometimes desires, you are eating shit. And that is times, but you are like kind of full of your mind. This is like kind of the desire. Then you can to eat shit. But it's like compassionate. That doesn't matter the tongue. They can to really use their tongue. Maybe think this is unbelievable. It's impossible to do. This is too exaggerated. No, it's not really exaggerated. Compassionate they can do. For example, when we have desires, we do inconceivable things. How it is like can to eat, even though someone's eating shit, that is 100%. But like this kind of sometimes emotional, compassion is like kind of the feeling emotion, so much compassion, love to do like this. But whenever he looked at the whole of the creature's body, this is like the beach female dog, rotten and full of the pus, mac, insect, could not bring himself to do it like openly eyes, and so shoot his eyes closed, like kind of shut his eyes, and like kind of the stretch means like kind of tongue out, his tongue. Instead of touching the body of this beach female dog, his tongue touched the ground. Huh? What happened? He opened his eyes, found that the beach had disappeared, like a dog, female dog disappeared. Instead place stood Lord Motiyanas, surrounded by like kind of the halo of the light round. How kind you are. And the Asanga asked, cried, 12 years I practice you. I never say why today is here, and not to have like showing me your face all these times. Why? It's not that I have not shown like myself. You and I have never be separate, this Buddha Mutian saying. But your own negative action and obscuration were too intense, very strong, for you to be able to see me, because your like kind of 12 years of practice have diminished them a little. Maybe it is like not very much connected to his compassions. 12 years he practiced Buddha Mutiyana, but not much generated bodhicitta. Therefore, he couldn't succeed. Then you were able to see the beach. You chose to see me as the beach dog. Just now, because of your great compassions, your obscuration, all is like kind of habitual tendencies have been completely purified. You can see me with your own eyes. Therefore, it's like, if you do not believe me, carry me on your shoulder and show me to everyone around. And then, of course, he's very happy. So Asanga placed Mitayana on his right shoulder and went to the market. Everybody see him in my shoulder or something else? Nobody sees it. Where he asked to everyone, what do you see on my shoulders? Everyone replied, there was nothing on his shoulders. And all accepted, there's one is a lady, one woman, whose like kind of the perception was slightly lesser like kind of clouded by habitual tendencies, because she's like kind of the negative the habitual tendencies more like lesser purified. She thought you are the carrying in the rooting like kind of corpse of the dog. Why are this? Lord Mutiyana then took Asanga to the Tushita heaven. There is the great like kind of the give the 5 teachings of the Mitayanas. Like for example, there's 2 kind of the ornament teachings. One is the Abhisamaya Lonkara, one is the Sutta of the ornament, and then it's like there's 2 kind of another Unta Namje and the Chunyin Namje. These 2 translation names, I don't know. So maybe it's like the making the distinctions in the middle and the like a surround, and then it's like second one is the making the distinctions is the nature and the phenomena. These 4, and then is the Uttaratanta. These 5 teachings of the Buddha Mutiyanas gave to the Asangas, instructed. Then is he came back to the realm of the men. Asanga like spread the doctrine of the great vehicle widely, extraordinary way. Oh, okay. Today we can to say it's like enter 11 o'clock. Huh? What? Break now. I'm 10 minutes late, yes? 20 minutes we can rest. Okay? Thank you. Probably can't reach now. It's like compassion, yes? Huh? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. What? Don't have to do.